What, it would be mid of the night in your place, right? 10
Yes, here in Los Angeles it's almost 10 o'clock.
o'clock, yeah.
Well, here we are with Ashish. I will not try to pronounce your last name, so I will just let you
Yeah.
do it.
Ashish Mahajan.
Ashish Mahajan is the new partner for Data Hive, and he is the CEO of PropStory, which is a company that is doing marketing for real estate, specialized in real estate, right? So
Yeah.
why don't you tell me a little bit about your company and how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so PropStory is now 6 years old, okay, and we have specialized in digital endeavors and marketing for the real estate sector in this country. We have made attempts to enter the UAE, and we hope in the next financial year, hopefully, we'll have one international market also in our amongst our sorry, targeted locations. Now, the reason for me to get into this business was, one, obviously, I was working for a very long time in the real estate sector as a financier. Uh, so I had somewhat understanding of where the marketing and sales functions operate within this space. However, when you compare a real estate sector of this country vis-a-vis the FMCG and many other businesses which are consumer oriented, and I'm talking of real estate from the perspective of the end buyers of homes, okay, there was a huge gap in terms of what is the communication or the way the marketing is done for this space. In the year 2015, I'm talking of. Obviously, things have changed drastically in the last 5 years. We have been one of the key partners to large real estate companies in this country to reach out to their consumers, generate inquiries, sell homes. But in 2015, the scenario was very different. People consider digital marketing as just having one website and probably create some listings in some of the large portals, so to say. And that was
So, for
end of it.
example, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So back then, okay, in India, if you're looking for a new home, what would you do? Where would you look for it? I mean, would you go to a real estate agent in person? Let's go through that process back then.
Yeah. So there is a big difference between the American real estate market and the Indian real estate market. While the intermediaries, what you call as the agents, are growing in number and the business, back then this was much smaller. And the primary activity that any home buyer would do would be to go to some websites which would do listings as something like a Zillow. Okay,
Also, you
not
see the pictures, all the pictures of the
pictures
property
and some
inside.
listings, some basic data of the property, and then you would end up probably at the Google search, and you will look for that particular property, and whichever links are coming on top, mainly the links of the company developing such a project, and you will send an inquiry, okay, and people will get in touch. Or primarily 6 years back, it was all about physical advertisements. You would see something in a leaflet or a newspaper advertisement or a hoarding. You would either make a call or simply take out time on a weekend and drive to such properties. But as we know, things are more digital. People can access information on mobile, and largely on mobile and desktop. So now we are serving the customer while he is sitting at home or in his office, or in his free time, by sending ads to him through Facebook, so through other display mechanisms, through search engine, which is now being used in a very large way. I'm very very sure that real estate as a contributor to Google's advertising business in India is growing at a very fast pace than some other sectors. It may still be small, okay, but it is growing at a good pace, and
So
this is where.
if you compare, like if you're a real estate developer and you're investing in marketing, I mean, nowadays, what is the share? I mean, how much you invest in regular advertise, which means like regular magazines versus online advertising?
Yeah, so now the advertising share is definitely going up. Some of the larger ones probably have a 50-50 split, okay? But the smaller ones may still be getting onto the digital bandwagon, and they would be at, kind of 20% for digital. But this is all going up, especially after the COVID hit us. The only way to reach out to the customer was digitally, because people were not traveling outside, and the restrictions in this country were pretty strict for a very long period of time. So, and advertisements in newspapers and all just vanished. So, what was working was the digital, because business did not stop. Probably it came to a halt in the month of April of last year. We have seen resurgence in real estate demand in this country, and this has largely been served by the advertising done online. And now the what we said about agents, even the agents have become very active, and some of the larger organized agents in this country are primarily dependent on digital only. Their share of digital advertising will be nearly 100%, because agents don't do print. Okay, so
And do you see a difference in the people that you're reaching through? Is it a different group of people that are reached through the magazines versus the online?
no, no. So it's pretty simple to understand. If, if a person in this space, see, real estate, unlike buying a candy, is a very high involvement decision, and something many people do only once in a lifetime.
Exactly.
So them not coming on the internet and searching for a property is very tough to believe. It's not like, yeah, I saw something in a magazine or a newspaper and I just went and made a decision. I would still search online for competition, for reviews, and those kind of things. So almost everyone who buys a home today comes online. Okay, he may or may not do an inquiry online, but he would come online. He'll type in the name of the property and either engage with someone online, or through online mediums, or at least be influenced by what is present online. So currently almost everyone goes online. It's even in the interiors of this country, the internet penetration is pretty high. So very tough to believe that someone doesn't come online and is just influenced by the print.
So you are doing like all the marketing. So you're creating the presence online and doing the advertising. And in which point did you decide, well, we need like to enhance the capability of the consumer to research for things within the website? When did you decide to bring like the chatbot? Was something that, how did it come up?
So since we have been now working with pretty large budgets for some of our clients, which includes the developers as well as the agents, uh, a chatbot introduction was made for initially, obviously, as a test. We wanted to test out this whole thing about whether people do interact through chatbots or not. We have never used a live chat or a feature. However, live chat also was prevalent and being used by people in this business. Okay, so we never used it. However, then we thought, we're anyway spending a lot of money to get people and get traffic onto a web page. Okay, now we had introduced click to call, we had introduced WhatsApp, we already had the inquiry form. Okay, what more can we do to engage a customer who is filling neither of these? Okay, that's when we tested the chatbot, and what we are seeing is that we are anyway spending money to get a certain traffic. We're not spending anything extra to get traffic for the chatbot. But even if we get one or two good engagements every day through the bot, which we have now figured out that it works pretty well, we are talking of maybe 15 to 20% increment in the inquiries that we can generate vis-a-vis without having introduced the chatbot. Okay, and with a very minimal expense that we may pay a fee, for using such a feature. So thereby, incremental spend is pretty low, but incremental output is very decent. Is actually amplified our ability to get quality inquiries through the use of such a feature.
Yeah, because I mean, just to clarify, I mean, you have the live chats when you have a person, and obviously, usually those chats are not 24/7. They have a limited time, and they are very costly because you
Yeah.
have to pay for somebody to be there. So the chatbot, it allows the possibility of having the feeling of a conversation, but you don't have another person. You have a robot.
Hmm.
And did you know how it worked, or were you totally? I mean, everybody knows what a chatbot is, but did you know the process of getting a or having a chatbot in your system, or how did it happen?
No, so we have seen the banks in this country using the chatbots. Okay, I may not be a person who uses chatbots so often, but if the leading businesses like the very large banks of this country have been using it, I'm sure it was serving some purpose. Okay, we did see a couple of real estate companies also using them, but we were not sure about the output. Okay, that's when Data High, which is founded by a friend of mine, Devilal. He was anyways in the process of making bots on his own, and we got involved at a very early stage, and we knew that if there is something that we can custom make for our usage, then it can have a larger appeal with our clients as well. And initially, before having introduced it with our some of our large clients, we tested it for some time on certain dummy campaigns that we had made. And yeah, so after having tested success is when we got into larger usage of the same.
And how was the process of, I mean, from the time that you decide, okay, let's do this? Can you walk us through the process of uh, how what you have had to do from your side
Hmm.
to have that up and running?
Yeah, so we had lengthy discussions with the Data Hive team, and we fi- tried to identify what is the kind of information we want to provide through a bot, and then have a call to action so that an inquiry is generated. Okay. Now we are plugging these chatbots onto pages which have a lot of information. However, probably the people who are in a hurry and not going through the web page are interacting with the bot. So the things that we highlight as a content on the bot are the location, the certain good features of a property, uh, landmarks near to the property. These are the kind of things, and some floor plans or some further details of the property. However, as a call to action, we have so get a price. Price is what we don't reveal. Even though the price is mentioned on the web page, we realize that the bot, as I earlier said, bot is being used by people who are probably not going through the entire web page, and they end up asking for a price, and that's where our call to action comes into play. That to get a price, please leave your credentials so that we can get back to you. So we have seen inquiries getting generated all through the day, especially in the evenings, late evenings, when none of us is available to attend a call, and this is where the robo is doing its own work.
So
So
you would
that,
say,
yeah.
what is the most common question that you have through the chatbots? I mean, can you define one or two? areas that
Yes,
is
see,
very.
everything else we are anyways providing through the bot. Okay. Our goal here is to get an inquiry in our business. I'm sure in other businesses, there are other things which are even discussed, other service issues being discussed. But now, in our case, it's primarily driven by the location. Person wants to know the Google pin to the property, which we provide through the bot. Person wants to know the price of the property, and that's where we try and generate an inquiry out of it. Okay, so primarily people are looking at certain for example, a property may have a two-bedroom house or a three-bedroom house, and they would try and inquire for a specific configuration. They may ask for the price of a 2 bhk. Okay, so anyhow, we are not providing that information through the bot. That happens through our manual process of making a call, because all said and done, the real estate requires a lot of offline intervention as well. So digital is probably primarily being used for generating inquiries.
And did you have, I mean, out of curiosity now, some type of questions that you did not expect that it was surprising to you that it started to come through the chatbot?
Not really, not in our current scheme of things. Definitely, some people would post. No, we have seen some people saying, "Don't call me, just WhatsApp data to me, etc." Uh, uh, any further questions, etc.? We've still not, seen them in our experience till now.
And another thing about the chatbot, another advantage is that, like, you have the call to action, which is you request if the person can leave their email or like mobile number. So it becomes like leads where you can have a lot of information, right? Um, from that point on, I mean, what is the how do the team handle those leads that come in?
Yeah, so the leads that we generate get into some sort of a lead management system, and then telecallers have to take that up, and they have to, basically engage the person over a phone call. This process
And
is not digitized. The calling process is not digitized as of now.
how what was the difference that you noticed once the chatbot was implemented in terms of generating the leads and also comparing that with the
No, we
traditional
have had,
online?
yeah. So we have so first thing I already highlighted, the cost of the bot is minuscule in comparison to the number of inquiries or the cost of inquiries that are being generated through the same, because we're not doing any great incremental spend to have a bot. Now, further, we analyzed. So the process of validating the lead is this, you get an inquiry, you make a call, the person expresses interest, asks for more information, and schedules a visit. Okay. Because all said and done, real estate cannot be transacted online. Someone has to come and see. So we have seen that consistently the bot queries, the percentage of queries that we get from the bot have a higher ratio of converting into a visit. Okay. Yeah, so that's where we are in our current understanding of the same, and that's why we are now using more than 20 bots already.
And can you tell us, I mean, in terms of how many leads you started to get after
Yeah,
using
so
the
we get about across 20 bots, we would be getting at least 30 to 40 inquiries, at least 2 to 3 inquiries per bot per day, right? So, which compares to probably 100 inquiries on these 20 campaigns that we have. So we are getting at least 20% more output because of the use of the bot.
Okay. And in terms of the insights, because you have the information, you gather the information, then you can analyze it. And we can have like a more simple analytics, or we can go deeper in it. I mean, in terms of looking at the analytics afterwards, did you get any insight about the
Yeah, so
people that were?
we've been trying to track what is that question that people typically ask the bot, you know. So like as I highlighted, people tend to engage. So when you are reading the web page versus just making some clicks here and there and getting the information served to you, we've seen that, you know, we have penned down almost everything about the property on the web page, including the price. Yet people want the bot to answer where the property is located, how far a hospital is, how far the airport is. So all these inquiries we've been tracking on the analytics, and trying to figure out, you know, what is that engages the customers the most. And we've seen the location related questions and the responses to the same are the primary driver, and eventually the person who's further interested in the property seeks a price. Okay. And yeah, so this is largely what we understand from the analytics as of now.
And where do you see this industry going? So, what do you think you change in the future? How people will buy real estate, or which type of interaction will be needed to sell real estate in a better way?
Yeah, so we like earlier we discussed that definitely the marketing in this business is going to go more and more digital. Okay. Even the sales process needs to become digital. You will not be able to replace the visit angle, okay, in this business or in this industry. However, we will try and serve as much information as possible on the mobile or the desktop, so that visit the requirement for a visit is just one remaining, you know, thing in the whole chain that a customer needs to do. But almost every bit of information in terms of cost, in terms of payment systems, in terms of where the loan you can get, the loan can be seeked from, everything needs to become or is becoming more and more digital. And yeah, so marketing will very well integrate into the entire sales process. Right now marketing does a certain job of generating inquiries through whatever mechanism, and sales takes over later on. But I guess this whole thing is going to become more digitized, and you will see that a lot of prediction models will need to be used in terms of what kind of inquiry you are generating and what kind of sales approach then has to be taken up to serve the customer. And you know, probably the whole process of buying home will become shorter, and that will be good for both the customer as well as the company selling homes.
And is there anything, I'll just give you an example. For example, you notice that people were very interested about the traffic around that particular apartment or particular house, and you modify your advertising because you notice this type of inquiry. Is there anything that it was your advertising was molded because of the insight you got through the chatbot?
No, so definitely one thing has happened that the use of bot from a limited way, we have used, you know, we are starting using it, you know, on a much larger scale. We may, the next step may be to even serve vernacular content, you know, because India is a pretty diverse country with multiple languages. Okay. And while we are currently using English as a default language on the board, but we work in, you know, certain properties which are probably in more smaller towns than the larger metros, and they're the default language because we are running some advertisements in local language.
I
So we may want to use local language also on the bot at some point in time.
Just so
So
people that don't know, how many languages do you speak in India?
Yeah, it's pretty much runs in several, more than 50.
Wow, yes.
And then there'll be several local dialects and all. So I guess that becomes, 100 plus. So, but yes, the languages will be easily 20 to 20 plus, which are largely being used in the high density areas or the cities that are bigger.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing. If you want to share your website, and I will also share that in the link, but just people that want to know more about the what your
Yeah.
company does,
Yeah, it's called propstory.com.
very easy, propstory.com. And well, thank you again.
Yeah,
And
my pleasure.
we'll talk in a couple of months to see like if you have new insights for us.
Sure, sure, sure.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
taking our time. Bye.
Bye bye.